All right, a quick session review on ES today. Likely going to be a quicker recap here considering the action that we had. We came into today's session. If you were in yesterday's end of day recap or you watched that recording, you already know what we were looking for because we covered it there. But essentially what we wanted to see this morning was how price traded versus that prior breakout point at the 4,900 area, right? So again, just working in reverse here. Where is price coming from? Friday, we had that daily breakout. This blue zone is the daily breakout. Big trend day. Usually you're going to see some consolidation following a trend day. So Monday and Tuesday, a bit of consolidation there. Not unusual to see that. Coming into Wednesday's action, we do have that breakout triggers overnight on the back of Netflix earnings. Very active market overnight. Test some of those upside reference points, some of those upside targets, areas where longs are going to be wanting to take profit and price resolves lower into 4,900, that prior near-term breakout point. So the watch for today was the reaction versus 4,900. And essentially what we wanted to see, what I was looking to see, was where buyers were going to be stepping in. And the logic behind that was, again, remember, if you are someone who wants to get long on the index and you may have missed the past 4, 5, 6 days of rallying and that daily breakout, where is the first opportunity? Where's the best opportunity that you're going to be wanting to get long? Now, a reasonable spot to expect some buying activity, again, is prior breakout points. Prior breakout points, prior areas of resistance like we saw in that 4,900 area. Once again, responsive buyers being found right through here. This is that pre-market action on the back of GDP. Price trades up into our 49.25 level of interest. We retrace lower into the afternoon, retesting 4,900. And what do we have? We have responsive buyers again. So the question now is, price is showing an inside day on the daily time frame chart. And essentially what that means is the entirety of today's action is within the prior day's action. This can be visualized on the daily time frame chart. If I just blow up these candles here so you can really see this. All right, looking at a mega view here, but here's today's action, and the entirety of that bar is within the prior day, just so we're clear on this concept. Now, that's not unusual when you have a highly volatile session like we had yesterday. What can we do with this information? Well, with the inside day, I like to treat it, again, like a sort of consolidation. So I'm going to be primarily focused on today's range when we get into tomorrow. So tomorrow morning, the main watch is going to be pretty similar to today, quite frankly. The reaction versus 4,900 or versus 49.25. Generally speaking, the direction in which the inside day breaks is the direction that you want to be trading with. So if price breaks and holds this 49.25, you want to be trading with that direction, right? If price breaks the low, you either want to be trading with that direction or very, very cautious until some lower areas of support are being found and you could assess for longs down there. So that's going to be the watch for tomorrow, 4,900 by 49.25 as the main focus on ES. The setup, like I mentioned this morning and like I've been mentioning throughout the week, let's get that out of there, it does remain bullish. Right? And the logic behind that is, remember, we have 1 month of consolidation here on the daily time frame chart. That's just a range trading all through here. Anytime you have a daily time frame breakout coming from a long duration consolidation, that breakout, unless it fails, is going to have some legs, meaning you're going to see higher prices. And those are times where personally, I'm very, very cautious attempting to fade that move. So I mentioned on Monday, and I believe on Friday, last Friday as well, this was going to be a week to be focused exclusively on longs. Does not mean there won't be short opportunities, but for me personally, I like to align myself with what the primary setup is, and the primary setup says trade the long. So I'll be keeping with that same theme tomorrow. Now, one of the other things we were kind of looking at for today was the fact that there was that bit of exhaustion that we saw yesterday. Now, again, anytime you have a candle like this, anytime you have a signal like this, that's an opportunity for sellers to actually force prices lower. Were they able to do that today? Definitely not. Definitely not. So we did not even trade down into that prior day low, did not break the prior day low. And so that was a fumble from the sellers. That opportunity was missed. So these are little details that I'm always kind of making mental note of as the setup continues to develop. Remember, the market is always generating fresh information, and so we want to be taking note of and using this information to our advantage to really kind of develop a narrative and align ourselves with the primary context. So that's pretty much how I'll break the session down, or break down the game plan on a day-to-day basis. Now, when we come into a session like today, just a quick session recap, remember the main watch was 4,900. So then how do we trade that? Well, the initial move off of 4,900 shows us that buyers remain in control. So we know we want to be, again, focusing on potential long opportunities. So then you just need a setup. You need a worthwhile setup to be establishing longs, right? And so the first real setup that I had identified was down through here on ES. You have an undercut of the lows, which gets instantly bought up. That's a nice long opportunity for an intraday reversal. You have another one right through here. At this point in the day, right into 10 a.m., we do have proof that buyers are interested in defending this 49.12, 49.11 zone. We also have some interest through there during the pre-market session as well. That bounce resolved in session highs and a test of the 49.25. Now look, you get another retest down into that 49.12, right? Prior intraday structure. Now you have VWAP helping you. Decent bounce opportunity. This one did not hit target on that test, but retests again through here, and we get a move into the target, which is session highs. So that's kind of a breakdown of how I'll be looking at a session and analyzing the intraday action within kind of the broader context of what I'm looking for. Now, I don't really trade the afternoon, so not doing a lot during the afternoon sesh, but again, using the big picture levels that we talked about, 4,900, once again, holding as support, responsive buyers being found down here, right? So you can, again, wait for a retest of that level, look for your signal, and it's a long. Higher low, it's a long. Now on NQ, let's take a look at that. It's quite similar as far as the structure is concerned. Having a look at that near-term structure, we had, again, Thursday, Friday action from last week, daily breakout, 2 days of consolidation. Prices resolve higher overnight. You get a retest into yesterday afternoon of this near-term breakout point. Call that the 17,590 area, 17,600 area. Resolves higher. Right up into essentially probably the 61% or the 3/4 retracement of that sell-off yesterday. Now, NQ did make a fresh session low, did actually break the prior day low, did not show follow through again. Now, to me, this is notable because, like I said on ES, anytime you have an exhaustion bar like this, that's an opportunity for sellers to really force lower prices. And they weren't able to do that. There's still too much buying activity for sellers to even show any type of retest of even this week's volume point of control. So it really shows you who is really in control of this tape, even when you start to have those exhaustion bars. So we have one on Monday, there's one exhaustion bar, no follow through on that sell, and another attempt yesterday, no follow through today, right? So some things, like I said, to be taking note of and kind of just having in your notes and being aware of, depending on which direction and how you want to be trading. This is just more data that tells me, the daily breakout, like I said a few minutes ago, has some legs. Is it possible for this to pull back? Of course. Would that be healthy? Most likely, right? We're talking about, 6-7 sessions, pretty much higher here. So it's getting to be a bit extreme as far as this move is concerned. So a pullback at this point would be warranted. Anytime you have 5, 6, 7 sessions higher, getting to be a bit extreme, getting to be a little bit extreme. Now, the thing is that these past 4 days, relatively speaking, I mean, the action is pretty tight through here. So it's not like we have big, broad buy bars that are just really, really pressing. So remember, price is either going to correct through price, which means pullback, or through time. And a case could be made that this is a little bit of a time correction, consolidation, a little bit of a consolidation. So NQ tomorrow, very similar approach to ES, just looking at how price trades versus today's range. You can see what it's fair to call that an inside day. So we'll be looking at 17,750 by essentially 17,550 as the main watch on NQ. Now, as far as individual names, there were a few stocks in the scan. We have AAL, American Airlines, with a second day. This was a killer setup today. If you guys trade individual names, one thing I'm noting this earnings season is that the gap and go setup is working nicely. We've got some early clues that the gap and go setup is working. We had Netflix, the gap and go yesterday, worked nicely. We had IBM today, gap and go, beautiful, beautiful setup. And then AAL as well. So keep that in your pocket. Keep that in your notes. If you trade individual names, keep an eye on those gap and go setups. Anyway, AAL second day watch, IBM going to be a second day watch as well. Netflix, we had the inside day here. Oh, resolving a bit higher now. So this is still going to be on watch for a continuation move on that Netflix. And then Tesla with the second day, this is also considered a gap and go, right? It's bearish, but gaps lower, below support, sells. Big volume. So looking for the second day in Tesla there as well. That's about it for today's recap. Tomorrow on the index, looking for that inside day break. And that'll wrap up our Friday. That'll wrap up the week. Hope everyone had a great day. Location was a little bit trickier today. So if you struggled or you couldn't find that setup that you really love, no worries. No worries at all. There is always tomorrow. That's one part of the market. Not every day is going to be the same. Not every setup is going to be of equal quality. It's our job as a trader to kind of look for those spots and look for those opportunities, which we really like, which we consider high probability, and then execute accordingly. So if you guys have questions, feel free to send me a DM in the Traders Think Tank. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Have a great afternoon.